Alright, hello. I hope you all enjoy my new intro. That spent I probably about 3 hours went into that, so trying to figure out everything So I hope you like it. Getting straight into it, UFC 315 is happening this Saturday. Belal Muhammed versus Jack Della Mandalena. I actually got that right that time. I'm proud of myself. With this momentum I'm carrying, I'm taking anything I can get after last week's big loss. But this is the comeback season, you know. There's only up from here. There's no more down. It's always just up. It's only up unless I get the ball wrong. But I'm going to do some safe picks this week. Getting straight into it. I don't want to take up more time than I have to. Brad Katona versus Bezkat Almakan, I believe his name is. Yeah. Bekzat Almakan, sorry. He's from Kazakhstan. I believe that's the same place Shavkat is from. From what I've seen from both men, Brad Katona is very mid, and I actually kind of rate Beksa. So I'm going to go with Almakan, probably round 1 or 2 knockout. I feel like Brad Katona is a bit you know what I mean? I feel like he's going to maybe win points, but I feel like that one shot is going to get through and land and probably put out Katona. Probably similar to the Benoit Saint-Denis and Mafravola knockout, something like that. And speaking of Benoit Saint-Denis, he's on this card. Moving on. Daniel Santos versus Zhong Yung Lee. I'm going to go with Daniel Santos, probably 2nd or 3rd round knockout. I rate his power quite a bit. So I feel like if he catches Zhong Yung, it could be lights out. Zhong Yung Lee, he's had some decisions that I disagree with, but no one really seemed too upset by them, so maybe it's just me. I think Daniel Santos is probably going to be a tough fight for him, but I feel like he's going to catch him at some point in the 2nd or 3rd. I'm going to go with Daniel Santos, though. That's my pick. Moving on. This fight, good matchmaking, I guess. I don't really know what else to say. They really want the Canadian to win. I can't pick Marc Andre. I really can't. Even against Bruno Silva, I can't pick him. So in this fight, I'm going with Bruno Silva decision or really sloppy, cartoonish knockout in the style of Dreykus. I just feel like Marc Andre just is very bad, you know. Even though Bruno Silva's coming off a 4-fight losing streak, this might be the fight to, you know, cut that losing streak. I really see Bruno Silva winning this, to be honest. I'm sorry if that's like a casual pick. Let's see what the odds are. Well, they don't say. So, I'm going to go with Bruno Silva. I think that might be the underdog. Navajo Sterling versus Ivan Erslan. Now, putting personal grievances with Navajo aside, I don't like his style. Hearing him talk in interviews, he seems very okay with like a prime Izzy style boring decision, if you get my drift. Not even Marab style decision where he's doing all these emotes in the middle of the fight. No, he's perfectly content with just a jab, kick, just to a decision. He has no killer instinct whatsoever. Now that might change with this fight, but I'm just going off what I've seen and what I'm hearing. I'm going to have to go with Navajo Sterling, either late knockout or decision. I can't see him chinning Ivan Erslan early. If he does, then we got a problem in the light heavyweight division. Because I think his boxing is good. He looks decent. But it's just, he doesn't have to instinct, you know what I mean? Like when you hurt someone and the instinct just pounce on them, you know what I mean? Pause. I'm just going to move on from that. I'm going to go Navajo Sterling decision or round 3 knockout. I'm not going to even bother trying to pronounce that first guy's name. I'm just going to call him Cass. I've seen some fights from Cass, or Modestas. Yeah, I'll just say that. Modestas. He seems decent. Do I think he's good enough to be Ion Kutalaba? Kutalaba looked very mediocre in his last fight and he got a really lucky submission. I'm going to have to go with Modestas. You know, probably knockout. I just don't see Cutelaba doing anything of value in this division. He's too old right now. He's too far in his career. Like, he can't just go on a 5-fight win streak and go for a title. You know what I mean? He can't just improve that dramatically. I'm just going to have to say, I'm going to go with my gut and go Modestas. He has nearly everything. The height, the reach. It's like, I can't really pick anyone but him. Maybe Cutelaba will prove me wrong. I wasn't that impressed with his Ibo Aslan performance. Alright. This fight confuses me, and we might see a dodgy decision, especially because your woman's from Canada. Jessica Andrade versus Jasmine Jasmine. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to go with Jessica Andrade. I feel like her only losses recently are against top talent. And I don't think Jasmine is one of them. I think she's very top 10, 7-ish fighter. I don't think she goes on to be top 5. I'm going to have to pick Jessica Andrade. Probably by knockout. Yeah, probably by knockout. Alright, moving on. Mike Mallet versus Charles Radke. They seem to be hyping up Charles Radke a lot in this promotion, I'm seeing. Do I think he's going to win this fight? I do. I don't really rate Mike Mallet that much. He got finished by Neil Magny. And this wasn't like prime Neil Magny. This was old man Neil Magny. You know what I mean? The one that got KO'd by Prates. And KO'd by Ian Gary, you know. I just don't rate Mike Mallet that much. I'm going to have to go with Charles Radke. Probably by knockout. Let me just see what he wins by, just make sure. Yeah, probably by knockout. Rounds 2 or 3, I'd say. This was originally meant to be Benoit Saint-Denis versus Joel Alvarez, but Alvarez pulled out. And they've got Kyle Propolic. Now, you may be wondering, how and why am I going to pick Benoit Saint-Denis? But if you look at the odds, any clear-minded man would pick Benoit Saint-Denis. But I think something really funny is about to happen. I know this is a throwaway pick, but this is purely a theory I have. With the amount of damage Benoit Saint-Denis has taken over his last 2 fights, his chin might be gone. And Propolic is a bit of a power puncher. If he catches Benoit once, it might be over. I don't know where his chin is after those last 2. Because if you look at it, not even the Dustin Poirier knockout, that was a clean, out-cold knockout. But even just the Moicano put the beating on him like no other. I can't... With that knowledge of mine, I need to see where his chin is, in a fight after, to pick against him. Now, we could just see him rush Kyle and probably just beat him up. And Kyle doesn't have a chance to throw anything. But I'm just going to go with my gut. I think Kyle could probably catch him, so I'm going to go Kyle Propolic. I just have that gut feeling, you know? Alright, moving on. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with that, but I just have a gut feeling. Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm going to go with Natalia Silva. I feel like Grasso got a very lucky title win over Shevchenko. I don't really see Grasso doing anything of substance again. Unless she gets a submission against Silva, but I don't really think she will. I think Silva's probably going to outbox her for 3 rounds and get the decision win. So I'm going to go with Natalia Silva decision. Alright, moving on. Jose Aldo versus Sahabi. I think it's Ayman Sahabi. I think this is a clear-cut Jose Aldo victory, but I don't know where his head is at, and especially with the age. So it's not, if this was a year younger than Aldo, this would be clear, no difference. I'm going to still go Aldo. I still, they might rob him again, but yeah, I'm going to go Aldo, probably by knockout. I don't really see Sahabi hanging in there with him. I feel like he's just any fighter they could find. This is a great website. Moving on. I'm going Jose Aldo by decision, by the way. Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiot, I believe is how you pronounce it. I think I saw that Shevchenko was an underdog. I don't understand why that is. I'm going to go with Shevchenko knockout. Like, especially the 5-round fight, Shevchenko knockout all day. Like, she looked decent in her last performance against Grasso. Like, I don't really see the hype behind Manon. So I'm going to go Valentina Shevchenko knockout. Belal Muhammed versus Jack Della Maddalena. I actually got it again. I might be improving, guys. Who do I think is going to win this fight? I'm actually going to break this fight a little bit down. Jack probably has the best boxing in UFC history. In his division, anyway. But the thing is, Belal Muhammad has hands like Canelo. And Canelo is, therefore, the best boxer. You know, one of the best boxers, I should say. Do hands like Canelo beat an Australian man with a grudge? It doesn't. I'm going to go Jack Della Maddalena. Probably knockouts first 3 rounds, I'd say. I don't think it goes past the 3rd round with him and Belal. I'm sorry, I have to go Jack. I'm not impressed by Belal. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I think Leon was shit. You know, Usman had no knees. So I think this last 3 runs of champions, Usman had no knees. Leon got a fluky knockout, then got a bogey decision. Then he beat Colby Covington when Colby Covington broke his ankle or whatever he did in the 1st round. And then Colby Covington goes on to lose to a fella that was on like a 5-6 record at the time in the UFC. I'm going to have to pick Jack. It's just everything's lining up to him being the next star. Like, especially with Volkanovski and like Adesanya in his corner. I have to say Jack wins it, you know. Even decision, I see him winning the first 3 rounds. And then Belal starts to take over 4th and 5th. And then they still give Jack the decision. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Tell me if I'm full of shit or not. Please, I take everything I can. Just say something. Let me know if my picks have been dog shit or my picks are actually underrated. Which, going off last week, they're probably not underrated. I had that one good week in Mexico and I haven't recovered since. Hopefully I can get a redo of that. I think this picks might be more than like a 50-50. I think I might get like 60-40 on this one card. Now, of course, right now I believe I get all of them right. But we don't know until it actually happens. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to leave it there. This video is getting a bit too long. And I bet you MMA Guru has probably done an hour predictions by this point. This was recorded like on the Monday after the Corey Sandhagen fight. So I'm just predicting that everyone else is like at least over 40 minutes for their predictions. This is 38 minutes. I'm yapping on. And this is like... I'm yapping at the end and it hasn't even broke 14 minutes. You know? This is the game plan. I'm gonna get all the autistic and ADHD people and just filter them to my channel. No one has time for this hour yapping about like Neil Magny's cousins, brothers, sisters, fathers, former roommate. That was a Spaceballs reference if anyone got that. So yeah. Probably do a filler video and then a recap video for next week. So see you then. I've said see it's one too many times. This is actual goodbye now. Goodbye.